It's okay. Thank you. It's good to have somebody watching your mic. Again, I want to first say thank you for coming, but apologize because we just finished our mandatory full board training with our staff, so it took us a little time to get the room refigurated for this meeting. Appreciate everyone coming to the Dougherty County School System mid-month board member meeting Thursday, April 24th. Mr. Superintendent, do we have any public comments or presentations?
Yes, ma'am. We have the Honorable State Senator Freddie Powell Sims, who wants to address the board. And as she comes, I want to reiterate something I said in the previous meeting. As you know, the Georgia Promise Scholarship list came out a few months ago, and we did our initial analysis. And Dr. Finley's staff worked on that. 87% of the students of the schools on that list had at least 50% of their students who were in poverty receive some form of government assistance. And of course, you know that our legislative priorities included a wait for students in poverty. Georgia is one of 6 states that doesn't have that. And as I mentioned in the previous meeting, House Bill 245 was introduced in the House, and Senate Bill 128 was introduced in the Senate. And Representative Jerry Green, who's in our local delegation, was the co-sponsor of House Bill 245, and Senator Freddie Powell Sims was the co-sponsor of Senate Bill 128. And we thanked them at our last meeting in their absence, but I want to make sure I thank Senator Sims today, and she can hear it, for her support. And although Georgia does remain one of 6 states in the country without a funding weight because those bills did not get out of committee, there was a pilot project that was funded to the tune of $15 million to help support students in poverty. Of course, that's well short of what's going to be needed, but it's a start, and it's the first time we ever had that. So I want to thank Senator Sims for her efforts in that regard, and I look forward to continuing to work with her and the local delegation and other leaders in the legislature to see that becomes a part of the QBE next year, because those students certainly need that additional support. So with that being said, Senator Sims, the floor is yours.
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you so very much for allowing me to come and address such an august body. And you beat me to it, Superintendent.
I'm sorry.
I came to thank you all. Thank you so much for what you have done this school year and other years, and especially since COVID. We are still battling illiteracy, homelessness, poverty, you name it, and especially in Southwest Georgia. So thank you so very much for what you do and your staff and the board. Can't do it without these leaders in our community. I came this morning also just for a very brief visit, and that is to talk about the good things that you're doing, and please expand what you're doing. Tell your story. If you don't tell your story, what happens?
Other people tell it.
Other people will tell it, and they'll get it what? Wrong. They will get it wrong. There are so many instances when I am in, not so many, but there are instances when I'm in conversation with others, and they say, well, the school system didn't do this, school system didn't do that. And I know we use social media. I know that. But social media is a platform for those individuals that don't necessarily pay property taxes. They're not your homeowners. They're not the ones that keep your school districts going. They are not. We older folks, mature, we want traditional media, more WALV, more Albany Herald, and Southwest Georgia. So I'm here to ask if you would expand the way we read about. There are so many good things that are going on. We had an individual that is published nationally, and one of our IEP teachers. We had another that just finished a cohort with the state board, and I think that was Samantha Fields, Miss Fields. And the published person is Merlone Taylor, and there are others. I see basketball, I see football, I see track on TV all the time. There are such good things that are going on in the district. If we can move to that more traditional way of connecting with the community, that would help us so, so much. Newspaper. I get weeklies from all of my 13 counties practically. And those little, they don't have a lot to put in. But whatever goes on in those schools, sometimes they're full pages or front page news. So let's see if we can get the Herald to give us more press, connect with them so that we can tell our story. Because if we don't tell our story and tell it the way it should be told, somebody else is gonna tell it and we're not gonna like it. Because most times I don't like because I fight for my school district every day. Either through legislation or meeting with other folks, but you guys do a tremendous job with the resources that you have. So I'm here to say thank you for what you do. And if there's anything more that I can do to help you, please let me know. Superintendent Dyer, I want you to know you guys should be very proud of him. He's known at the Capitol. Yes. And you want to have an individual that can walk in the door and not stand in the back of the room. They appreciate him and what he brings to the table. He brings a wealth of knowledge, and we appreciate you so, so much, Superintendent Dyer, your staff, and your school board. My only ask is that we expand the way we communicate so folks will know the true facts. I had an individual that talked about your cohort that you're having. He's blown away. I wish I had known. I would have wanted to be, I want to be a part of it as well.
The villa, yes, ma'am.
Yes, so that, and he was blown away because I didn't know and Superintendent, yes, this is what I've been trying to tell you. You have a good district. We just need to work together to, and let everybody know exactly what we're doing. Because when you put it on that social media out, that's what it is. It's social media. It's not professional. And, we want it to be, but it's not always that cut and dry. So thank you so much. Just wanted to bring that to you all. Thank you for all that you do, and we are here to serve you whenever you need us. Thank you all so much.
Thank you. And I would be remiss if I didn't say Senator Sims, House Chair, Education Committee Chair, Chris Irvin told me to express his thanks for your support on not only the trying to work on the poverty funding, but also the capital bill regarding the capital funding. He says you worked hard in the Senate to make that happen. He wanted to express his thanks to you on that. Thank you.
Thank you all so much.
And she spoke, Senator Sims spoke of me being known at the Capitol. She's one of the reasons when I say I know Senator Sims, I get doors open. So to have a leader like that in the Senate working with us is it makes it easier for us to get doors open when we go. So thank you for that. Yes, ma'am. Yes, thank you.
Once again, thank you, Honorable Senator Sims, as I would say, my 6th grade teacher. So thank you again for coming out. Mr. Dyer, before we go to the agenda, just from the conversation, how are we doing the things do we have a Southwest Georgia or Albany Herald subscription that we can add stuff in?
Yes, ma'am. We actually have we enter into a contract at the beginning of every fiscal year, and we buy ad space in the Southwest Georgian and the Albany Herald weekly ads. And then when things come up, we post those. And the ads is more about school system things, events, things of that nature. We did share with you Miss Fields when she got selected for that Gen 2. I didn't know about Miss Merlone Taylor, but I don't know if we do a good job of making that public and putting it on social media and putting it in traditional media. So we'll start doing that. I know I shared with the board, but that's a good point. We need to let everybody know what's going on. So we'll certainly start doing that. I received that, and and I see JD back there nodding his head. So we're gonna make that happen.
And also, just for clarity, the one that on our school board with each school system, each school has their own little page. We just need to update that more often because there are some that publish more than others.
Right.
And if everybody don't know the community, we do have a on our on our school board website. You can click on each school, and it gives you some of the things that they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we will review the agenda items to give board members an opportunity to ask questions or make comments. Will we need an executive session to discuss personnel?
Yeah, personnel and property.
Property.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. You good?
Yeah.
Okay, board members, do you have a question or comment about the agenda for the regular board meeting on the agenda? Any questions?
No.
Okay. Agenda item 1, regular board meeting held on April 14, 2025. Item 2, item 3, give you a few minutes. Item 4,
And item 4, we adopted, the board approved the school calendar previously, but we had some feedback, although Madam Chair, at the time, the Vice Chair said that she had feedback. That was the best calendar we ever had as a school system. One complaint we had, we started in July. And although it was July 31st, on the one day from August, I think psychologically, it's a big difference between starting in July and starting in August. So we have made some adjustments to the calendar for 25, 26, including that feedback. And then we're going to start in August, August 1st, I think it is. It was August 1st, yeah. And so that will.
it's a mental thing.
It is. So we gladly accepted that feedback, and we made adjustments to the calendar based on that.
And just to ask, has this been shared with the surrounding counties? Because I think
What-
they've enjoyed us being on that same.
Yeah. Once we adopt it, it'll be, yes, ma'am. I think it's out there on the web. We're gonna adjust it. If the board approves the adjustment, we're gonna post the new calendar, and the other school systems know what those dates are.
Madam Chair,
Yes, ma'am.
I do have a question concerning the calendar, and this is for my information. Good Friday, can that be considered a holiday for our system or district, or is it crossing the line with school and religion?
Yeah, well, we can make it a holiday, since Easter is a religious holiday. We typically don't make it just for that one day. Sometimes we have our spring break around that time. A lot of school systems do it since Easter changes so much. In terms of it's not like a set day, then we do have an issue with that. We can certainly consider that. If the board wishes to do that, we can.
Okay, just for consideration.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay. Any other questions? Item 5, consideration of the reappointment list for 2025, 2026. Item 6, any questions? Okay. Item 7, consideration, recommendation, approval, fundraiser request. And item 8, the financial report and budget amendment.
As you see, Madam Chair, typically we present a financial report and it doesn't require action. This financial report includes a budget amendment to include additional revenue that was received from the state and a change in our expenditure projections. And so it includes increased revenue to the tune of about $500,000, well, $550,000. And so that's reflected in the revenue column, and so that's why it's going to require an adoption of the amendment. As you look at when we adopted the original budget, when the board adopted the original budget, we projected about a $5.5 million use of surplus because of Ms. Hatcher, her team's management leadership in the finance area. We're now projecting about a $3.9 million use of surplus, and I think that will go down even further as we get through the year.
Thank you, sir, for the explanation. Is there any committee reports? Hearing none, Mr. Dyer, are you ready for your superintendent report?
Yes, ma'am. All righty. Superintendent's report for April 25th, 2025. We'll go over our strategic plan update, and our legislative updates. We'll have celebrations and announcements. Of course, the vision of the Dougherty County School System is that we're a destination school system that, in collaboration with families and community stakeholders, provides quality educational and social development experiences that empowers graduates to be successful and impactful contributors to society. Our mission is to meet the academic and non-academic needs of our students with rigorous and relevant educational experiences that equip them to succeed in life. And our strategic plan, the 5 priority areas include early literacy, academic rigor and relevance, social and emotional wellness, investment in human capital, and family and community engagement. First update, as you know, every year, the Governor's Office of Student Achievement produces a list of those schools that are beating the odds. And the beating the odds is a statistical analysis that compares schools' actual performance on the College and Career Ready Performance Index with schools with similar characteristics across the state. The higher the schools perform, they consider beat the odds. They have not done that the last couple of years because we didn't have a CCRPI because of COVID. But this year they did that again for 2024. And if you look at the top chart or table, that the state averages had 32.2% of the schools beat the odds, 39.1% operated within the expected range, and then 28.7% were below the expected range. At Dougherty County School System analysis of our 21 schools, 47.62% beat the odds, and they outperformed their peer schools with similar demographics. Another 42.8%, almost 9%, performed within the expected range, and about 9.5%, 2 schools out of the 21 performed below the expected range. So you look at our performance in terms of like schools, then we're outperforming or on par with schools to the tune of about 90%. And we have 2 schools, again, that operated below the expected range, performed below the expected range, and we've identified those schools and working with those principals to improve their performance. So again, like I continue to say, when you look at the raw results, we're not pleased with the raw results, but if you look at the progress that we're making and performance in terms of peer institutions, then we are performing on par or better than those schools. So if we continue that, then we'll soon be reaching the state average and surpassing the state average if we continue to make that type of progress. I want to thank our schools first, school leadership, our students and their families, and the district support staff that provides the necessary targeted support and interventions that help make this happen. So, and thank you to the board for your governance and guidance in this regard. Any questions? If not, we'll talk about the second strategic initiative. You know, social and emotional wellness is part of our strategic priorities. And if a student doesn't feel safe at school, then their social and emotional well-being is not being looked after. So using our Project Prevent grant that we were funded for 2 years ago, part of that was to conduct behavior threat assessment programs and have threat assessment teams. And we started that last year, or 2 years ago rather. And then in 2025, the state passed House Bill 268, a couple of years after we started this initiative. that require certain things, and with full implementation required by June 26th. And so some of those key requirements in that bill was to develop and implement a behavior threat assessment. And again, this was just passed this year, and we're in the process of doing that. We had a behavior threat assessment initial meeting 2 weeks ago. So we've started that. It also requires us to provide anonymous reporting systems using a mobile app or other apps, and we've already implemented that. We had that since, I forgot, at least about 3 years ago, I believe. Designated mental health coordinator, we've done that. Submit digital maps of campuses annually. We do have the maps digitized, and we'll be submitting those. Provide wearable panic buttons for school employees. And we've already done that. We were one of the first in the state to adopt that using strategics. Enforce stronger penalties for terrorist threats. That'll be a policy issue that'll be addressed as we revise our policy manual. And it should be ready either before the next school year or during next school year. Then access training and support through GEMA and Homeland Security. And I've already met with our GEMA rep for this region to look at the training that's available, and we're coming up with a calendar of training for school system personnel. So out of those required components, including the House Bill 268, that need to be fully implemented by June 1st, 2026. We've already fully implemented 4 of those, and 3 of them we've already started even before the bill was passed. And you may ask what a behavior threat assessment is. It's a proactive, fact-based approach to identify, evaluate, and manage potential threats. Focuses on behavior, not profiling. It's a multidisciplinary team approach, early intervention and support, and it's the best method for preventing future attacks according to the U.S. Secret Service. And what does it mean for us? That means we review and align our current practices with new state requirements, developing trained behavior threat assessment teams at each school. And that's the initial kickoff that we had 2 weeks ago. Implemented a compliant reporting platform, collaborate with mental health, school safety, and local law enforcement, and meet state deadlines and access GEMA resources for training. And we're using Safer School Solutions as our training partner in the training, and it's a national consulting firm specializing in behavior threat assessment, violence prevention, and safety planning for K-12 schools. They help school districts implement proactive team-based strategies to reduce threats and improve school safety. And the 2 principals, Brian Katz, he's the Chief Executive Officer, and he has experience as a Chief School Safety and Security Officer at Broward County Public Schools in Florida. He also served as the Director of Personnel Protective Services for Google, and he's a former special agent for the U.S. Department of State, U.S. State Department rather, and as a security expert. And then David Gallagher, he's the head of strategic services for Safer School Solutions, and he's the former supervisory special agent for the State Department, and he's an attorney with in the litigation department at a law firm in Florida. So they're very well versed in school safety and safety overall, and those are the folks leading the behavior threat assessment. They were one of the leading firms in the country, and they were selected after an RFP process. They submitted a proposal, and they were selected. And again, this was all done prior to House Bill 268 being introduced. So again, we're ahead of the state in terms of our safety implementation. The next update, strategic update, again, is the Family Community Engagement Villa, the Volunteer Instructional Leadership Learning Academy. As you know, tonight we'll have our graduation and completion ceremony. That's the culmination of a couple of months of sessions where we engaged approximately 20 individuals in a series of courses designed to provide them with insight into the school systems and school system operations. Of course, the lay of the land, giving a broad overview, and then an overview of our local school districts, education operations, financial operations. Then earlier this month, rather, we did site visits to several of our schools. And then tonight, they'll have their graduation ceremony in this room from 5:30 to 7 o'clock. And so it's very well received, good feedback. As you heard Senator Sims speak about people a person she spoke to is in that cohort and gave rave reviews. A lot of them didn't know what we were doing as a school system. We got candid feedback, some opportunities for improvement, and some feedback there. but most of them were blown away with the things that we were doing, particularly in terms of student support and support for our families. And also with the strategic planning process, Dr. Finley, I gave an update a couple of meetings ago, and we have scheduled the next significant milestone is focus group meetings, and scheduled for May 15th with community stakeholders, students, parents and families, and faculty and staff. Not all at one time, of course. Those are separate focus groups, and but they will all scheduled for May 15th. And we're looking forward to that next step. And then once we get that feedback, we'll synthesize that. Dr. Finley will go back to the convening committee, steering committee, and compile the recommendations as we come up with the next strategic plan for the Dougherty County school system. Any questions about strategic planning updates?
Ms. Gaines?
I just wanted to know, where will this meeting be held?
With these meetings, they will be held. We're probably gonna have them at the College and Career Academy, we identified the community stakeholders.
Oh, you've already identified?
Yes, ma'am. We members of the, if you have any recommendations, feel free. We typically do chamber, EDC, our higher ed partners, and our major employers and other community stakeholders, because we partner with them. Our city and county government officials provide insight, because those are the individuals we partner with, or the groups we partner with. Right. Then we also get feedback from our students in a separate group, our parents and families in a separate group, and then our faculty and staff in a separate group, because their perspectives are different. So we put all those together, compile all the input, and then we come up with recommendations based on that input. But if you have anyone else you think needs to be invited, feel free to let us know, and we'll consider their invitation to the group.
Oh, okay.
Right? Any more questions, Madam Chair?
No,
Yeah.
no.
All right, and then I mentioned this earlier. It was in my report, but since Senator Sims is here, I want to make sure I said it again in front of her. But again, as we talked about the Promise School scholarship list, the schools operating in the bottom quartile of the in terms of performance in CCRPI. 87% of the schools on that list have a student population where at least half of the students' families receive government assistance, meaning they're in poverty. And as we stated before, that's not an excuse, because we have several schools who overcome those challenges, the students who overcome those challenges, and they're able to thrive. But it requires a lot of wraparound support. And students who in those situations need more support than students who are not. And for schools who have a concentration of students, that requires significant and more resources to help them meet those needs. And Georgia is one of 6 states in the country that doesn't have a funding rate for students living in poverty. And although we're certainly appreciative of Senator Sims for co-sponsoring Senate Bill 128 that would have provided a 25% funding for students in poverty, and appreciative for Representative Gerald Green for co-sponsoring House Bill 245, which would add a 75% weight. Those bills did not get out of committee, but there was a move to add $15 million for a pilot program for that. So that's a good start. Quite frankly, when we look at the number of students impacted, and those students in those schools, we're talking about over 380,000 students impacted who are living who are in those schools, and so $15 million doesn't begin to meet the need, but it is a start, and this is the first time ever that the state provided funding for students in poverty. I think that give us the momentum we need to continue to advocate. And in next session, I think we should be able to find that there'll be an appetite for increased funding. We're working on a position paper that spells out the challenges and the impact, and the numbers speak for themselves. 87% is not a coincidence, and so if, like I said before, if we never begrudge anyone for making choices about their students' education or the state for funding priorities, we do think that supporting the students who are most vulnerable, it should be a priority of the state, and we're going to continue to advocate for that. And I thank Senator Sims again and Representative Green for their work in making that happen. And I think there'll be a concerted effort beginning early this fall to advocate for this with our state leaders to see that funding is included to support their needs, the needs of these students who sorely need it. Another piece of legislation, Ms. Sanders, we can bring those up now. Looking at the estimated rollback rate guidance from the ACCG. Tom and I spoke about this yesterday, and our staff met with Shauna Colley, who's our tax director, yesterday. She sent us an email last Friday, the 18th, about this. And this is new. The estimated rollback rate is a new concept that became law in 2025, created by House Bill 581 and then revised again by House Bill 92 that was passed, just adopted this year in the state legislature, that now provides a annual notice of assessment. Then it includes last year's millage rate for each authority and estimated tax liability based on that. But what the House bill requires now is that we have to do an estimated rollback rate and include it in the notice of assessment from our tax director. And if we don't, then there are other things that are triggered. So when we met with our tax director yesterday, she advises that May 15th, we have to send out the board has to adopt or certify the rollback rate within and get it to the tax authority 15 days prior to notices being sent, the date on the notice rather. And she advised us yesterday that date is May 9th. So that's the day we have to send it to her. So again, this was not included on the original agenda. I do have it in my report. I added it to my report, and I'm going to ask the board to consider adding it to the agenda as item 8B, so that the board, and ask that the board vote to certify the estimated rollback rate. That rate will be 17.927 meals as opposed to the 17.967 meals of last year, and that will the projected decrease in tax revenue associated with that rollback rate is slightly less than $82,000, $81,902, and less revenue, tax revenue for the school system based on that rollback rate. And the board has rolled back the rate 6 out of the last 7 years, and I know the board is hypersensitive to the tax burden of our community, and I support the rollback rate this year as we continue to look forward in the economic pressures that we're seeing on the horizon. I don't know how many more years we'll be able to do that, but I think this year will be a year that we can still sustain a rollback rate without it being detrimental to the operation of the school system. And again, I apologize for the lateness of this. We advised just yesterday of the rollback rate, and we advised of the deadline of May 9th. Otherwise, we would have had to go to it. Tommy and I talked about it. We talked about the next board meeting. But when we met with Shauna Colley, she advised our finance staff that May 9th will be the 15th day based on the date they anticipate sending the notices out. So I'm asking the board to consider adding this to the agenda as item 8A and vote to certify the rollback rate of 17.927. And included in the packet is some guidance from ACCG and GMA. All of those represent the county commissions and city commissions. The procedure is the same for cities and counties as it is for school boards. So we thought that would be relevant as part of the documentation to provide for you to make an informed decision. And then the other thing that's included is the calculation of the estimated rollback rate as presented to us by Dougherty County Tax Department.
Any questions too? And I know we have to take some time to, but keep in mind, if we do not do it, then on the tax bill, they would have to put a statement down to the bottom
Right.
on every tax bill if we don't go with their suggestion. Any questions to the superintendent? Okay.
If not, the next celebrations and announcements, ma'am. As you know, our 4C robotics team traveled to Houston last week to participate in the World Robotics Championship. Although they didn't win, they did have a great showing, and the students certainly participated and appreciate the investment the board makes in them as they travel to compete with countries from across the world in robotics. I've Auburn and Flixman, I think I mentioned it at the last board meeting, but Ryan Shin, who's a student at Westover, won the local Flex competition. Flex is a foundational leadership entrepreneurial experience. It's more like it's like a Shark Tank for students, and we've been participating in that for the last several years. And Ryan Shin, Vanity Vitalities is the name of his company. He finished third in the state this year for promoting his clothing line, and so that's our first state winner or finished in the medals rather. So he's the highest Dougherty County student that's competed in the state, and we're so proud of him for that. And we look forward to even more next year. Go ahead. I think that deserves applause, Dr. Finney.
Yes.
And I'm sure he will come before the board at some time as we recognize him for that achievement. This month is the month of the military child, and we've been promoting that on social media throughout the month. And there's I think we've highlighted international studies because a lot of our military families choose international studies. As you know, we provide school choice for our military families because of the nature of their jobs. Some parents have to be deployed and for months at a time, and so we provide them with opportunity to choose a school because they live on base, a lot of them, and so I think they appreciate that tremendously. As a matter of fact, I was talking to the Colonel, the base commander, Colonel McKinney, at an event earlier this week, and he said his son, he's a student at international studies, he loves international studies, and he said, well, it's testing week, my son told me. He said his son told him, Dad, do you know the best part about testing week? And he said, no homework. So he gets his book bag, drops it off in his room, and he goes outside to play. But he did also tell him, make sure I get a good breakfast and a good night's sleep because we have testing this week. So he gets it. But yeah, Colonel McKinney is an advocate. You may have seen a video of his son on one of our social media posts. So we really appreciate our military partners, our Marines as we call them, and they appreciate the work that we do and supporting them. A lot of them travel and they go to 4 or 5, sometimes 6 different schools in a K through 12 career because of the different assignments that their parents have. So to go that extra mile to support them it means a lot to them, and we're glad to be able to do it. It's also School Library Month, and I want to thank our media specialists for the work that they do to support instruction in our schools. And we did not put in here, but I think yesterday was National School Bus Driver Day. So I want to make sure we celebrate our bus drivers. If the kids can't get to school, they can't learn. So that's very important. We're going to celebrate some scholarship signings at Monroe. Yesterday they had a signing event where they had Lewis Cobb III. Signed a scholarship for wrestling at Andrew College. As you may recall, we celebrated him earlier. He won the region in wrestling, and he finished, I think, 3rd in the state. Lorenzo Steele signed a basketball scholarship to East Georgia College, and Nehemiah Tench signed a baseball scholarship to Payne College. And Miss Price, who's the media specialist at Alice Cushman Elementary School, Candace Price, she was named the Georgia Library Media Association's 2025 Library Media Specialist of the Year. So congratulations to Ms. Price for that honor. Ms. Anita Moody, who's our music coordinator for the state, lead music specialist for the state, for the last couple of years, she's come back to start out to reinstitute our general music and chorus showcase that we used to have quite some time ago prior to COVID. And so she's started that again. It'll be May 1st, beginning at 5:30. at the Ruther May Harris Performing Arts Center Theater at Monroe Comprehensive High School. So I'm sure Ms. Rhonda will be sending you out a notice, a reminder for that. And we also, although we have not gotten that date yet, be on the lookout for an email about the spring concert for our Dougherty County Youth Orchestra.
Great job.
With that being said, ma'am, that's all I have. Are there any, unless there are any questions or comments?
Any questions from the board members? Just let Jeremy know I wear a size 2X. He needs to bring some gear with him so we can help in supporting his organization.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, do we have a motion to go into executive session for personnel and property?
Madam Chair, I move that we go into executive sessions for personnel and property.
Second motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? We will now go into executive session. Please take all your belongings and wait a few minutes outside. We'll be with you momentarily. you for waiting. Can we please stand for a moment of silence and the pledge of allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Am I on? Thank you, Mr. Superintendent. Do we have any public comments or presentation?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Do we have a motion to adopt the agenda with which including 2A, which is the addendum, 5A, and 8A?
And 5A is the addendum to the reappointment book, correct?
Reappointment book.
And 8A, and 8A is the,
Addendum.
no, 2A is the addendum, 5A is the addendum to the appointment book, and 8A is the estimated certification of the estimated rollback rate. Right.
Any questions? Okay, do I have a motion to approve the agenda with those, change?
So moved, Madam Chair.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Do we have any changes to the minutes for the board meeting held on April 14, 2025? Do I have a motion? Do I have any changes for the board meeting? Okay, so can I enter a motion to approve the minutes?
Madam Chair, I offer a motion that we receive the minutes with approval from the April 14th board meeting.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, do we have a motion for consent agenda for items 2 through 8A? Which includes 2A, 5A, and 8A. Do we have a
Madam
motion?
Chair, I offer a motion to
Second.
include all the ones that you have mentioned.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Do we have any announcements, Mr. Superintendent, or any of the board members?
Yes, ma'am, I have two announcements. One, as you know, Ms. Strother is not here today. And she, her grandmother, Kay Hines, who you may have known for quite some time as an executive director for the Oswego Council on Aging. Yeah, she passed away, and the funeral services are today. I think the viewing was 12:45 to 1:30, and then the funeral starts at 2. Yeah, and then just this morning, when we in the board training, Miss Bowie may have mentioned she mentioned something about taking care of employees, and I had to step out. Got notification that Miss Latricia Perryman, sister of Lakeisha Bruce, passed away this morning. She's also our work with MCLB as our liaison with the school system. She's been battling ailment for quite some time, and she transitioned this morning. So keep not only Miss Strother and her family, but also Miss Bruce and her family in your prayers.
Okay. Jesus, yes, that's fine.
And
It's
have
all
that,
about
yeah.
justice.
Yeah.
Ooh, do we have any other business to address today? Okay, if not, may I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? This concludes the meeting.